Gold rush in Cripple Creek started in 1891, and this railroad was built 10 years later in 1901. The railroad was basically built by gold miners. When they first struck gold in Cripple Creek, the miners flocked up here by the thousands, and a lot of them struck it rich.
I want to get rich.
And Cripple Creek these days calls itself the world's greatest gold camp. It's a very popular tourist destination. And the name isn't really an idle brag for tourists, because Cripple Creek was and is now, again, one of the biggest gold strikes anywhere in the world. Cripple Creek is actually based on top of an old volcano. And that's what the geologists tell us is the reason for all the gold up there right now, and always has been. In the early days, before 1891, Cripple Creek was the name of a stream where there was a cattle ranch.
Were the cattle crippled?
No, they weren't, but one of them got crippled. I'll tell you the story. The cattle ranch was built in this beautiful valley up there that had lots of tall green grass, the kind that cattle like to munch on.
Yeah.
Well, the ranch was built on the source of the stream that wound through a valley. And that's why all the grass was up there, because of this little spring-fed stream. Well, one day, some of the cowboys at that ranch were out building a little structure called a spring house. You probably know what a spring house is. Anyway, these cowboys were building a little spring house, and while they were doing that, one of the cowboys was holding a loaded shotgun. Uh-oh. Well, he dropped the shotgun, and it went off and it shot him in the thumb. It didn't really hurt him bad, but you know the noise of the gun going off scared the cattle. And those cows took off running everywhere, and one of the old cows tried to jump over the stream. She didn't quite make it. She hurt her leg real bad. Well, when all the commotion died down, one of the cowboys looked around and said, "This sure is some Cripple Creek." So just for fun, they named it Cripple Creek.
Good enough reason as any, I suppose. Thank you, Bill. Phil. I just want to say Buffalo Bill. I mean, it's age-old
Everybody
legend.
wants to call me Buffalo Bill.
How'd you get the nickname Buffalo Phil?
Well, the day I was born, my mama said, "This boy's going to grow up to be a bruiser." And you can see that's what happened, right?
Yeah, of course.
She named me Buffalo Phil. No, actually, I got the name from one of my boys, one of my sons. When I got this job about 13 years ago, my wife got on the phone to college. He was going to school at Fort Collins. And she said, "Well, your dad's got a new job. He's a Jeep driver, and he's got to wear a cowboy suit, and he has to have a cowboy nickname." And my son said, "How about Buffalo Phil?"
That's a good way to get a nickname.
Yeah.
My uncle's nickname is Bear. When he was born,
Bear?
I call him Uncle Bear my whole life. When he was born, my great-grandfather, his grandpa, goes, "That ain't a baby, that's a bear." And it's stuck with him ever since.
How about that?
Most people just call me stupid.
You let him get away with it?
Hey, the shoe fits.
Oh.
I'd rather be dumb. Have you ever seen Forrest Gump? He was dumb as a box of rocks, and he was happy as can be.
Yeah, he was. And he knew presidents.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Shook hands with a couple of them.
Well, I mentioned that the Colorado Midland Railway was already there when the Cripple Creek Gold Rush started. And a lot of the miners that were making money in Cripple Creek lived down here in Colorado Springs. And so that's where they built the mills to process the gold ore. But the miners needed to be able to get the ore down the mountain. And guess what? Here was the Midland Railroad ready to do it for them. So at first the Midland Railroad was a monopoly. It had all the business of hauling the ore down the mountain. So the Midland charged the miners a lot of money. So the miners got tired of that. They said, okay, let's pool our resources and build our own railroad and compete with the Midland. So they built this railroad and they called it the Short Line because they built it direct to the gold camp. And it was quicker and shorter, and it competed with the Midland. So their shipping prices came down. That's the American way, right? Competition. And they named it the Short Line because it was shorter.
Okay.
Now this is theoretically a two-way road. There are places like this where the theory meets practice. And theory loses.
Practice prevails.
That two-way road?
Down there is Colorado Springs, downtown. And we're going to see the Broadmoor Hotel in just a moment. That is the famous Broadmoor Hotel. And that hotel was built, the first one, the one that's still there in fact, the original hotel is still there. It was built in 1918 by a man from Philadelphia. Hi, buddy. Hi.
Hi.
Sit down, please. Sit down.
He just wants to get around and do stuff, don't he?
Would you like a little sticker to put on his shirt? This is the Colorado Columbine. And it is a sticker. It peels off the back if you want to put it on his shirt or something. The Broadmoor was built in 1918, the original hotel. And it was built with money that Spencer Penrose made in the great Cripple Creek gold mining camp. He became a millionaire in Cripple Creek mining gold. And he built, among other things around here, the Broadmoor Hotel in 1918. Now, do you see that there's no pavement on the road anymore? Do you notice that it's gravel road? Did you notice that there's a big old drop off at the edge of the road? And did you notice that sometimes there's no guardrail? But I always tell my passengers here, if these mountain roads make you nervous, you can do like I do and close your eyes.
I see people come here and spray paint graffiti over on the...
Oh, you know, you can't escape it. It happens everywhere.
Yeah, well, you know, 200 years from now, people are going to think that's artifacts and study it.
They're petroglyphs.
Hieroglyphs, petroglyphs, something. I just think it's trashy.
I agree. Well, we saw worse up in the high country. I had a high country tour earlier today, and you know what they're doing up there? Taking high-powered rifles and shooting down trees, living trees. Yeah, you talk about vandalism.
Don't get me wrong, you know, that disrespects the mountain, but I do like shooting guns. But
I don't mind
get your own
shooting.
property.
Yeah, I'm all for gun rights, but these people are going beyond target shooting. They're shooting down living trees
Yeah.
and trashing the place in the process.
Not picking up their shells, any of that, I'm sure.
Exactly, and leaving their targets out there. You know. Wow, that's a huge one.
It's a bumpy road, my dudes, but just keep seeing where it goes.
They built this railroad in the year 1901. That's when they finished it. And when they built this railroad, they had to build 42 bridges, trestles, to carry the trains across the gullies and canyons. And they also had to blast 9 tunnels through the rock to accommodate these trains. And we're going across a couple of the trestles, and we're also going through 2 tunnels.
2 to 9.
2 of the 9 tunnels, yes indeed. Starting with this one.
So are all the tunnels still being used?
3 of them are.
Okay.
There are these 2 here, and then there's one up by Cripple Creek, about 40 miles away. And that's still in use also. The others all collapsed.
As things happen.
As things happen, yeah. Now when they blasted these tunnels, they started here. And this is the #1 tunnel, very first one. This is a railroad tunnel, and it was the first of them that they blasted through the rock.
I would love to blow up some dynamite one day.
It'd be fun just to do it, would
Just once, go fishing with it.
Can you hear the old train whistles? Woo!
That was cool. All right, well, hey, I'm going to end this section. I will catch up with you guys in a minute. All right? Thank you for watching.